Hi there. This is lecture video 1 of CSE2000Q2S, Computer Science 2, taught by Professor Lawrence Orijuela, and my name is Lawrence Orijuela. So, what I have for these first 2 weeks is that we're just going to cover review, and for this week, we're going to cover data types and input-outputs. So, let's begin, shall we? So, I just thought I'd begin by telling you and going over the course description. So obviously, this is CSE2000Q2S Computer Science 2, worth 2 units. The semester prerequisite for this class is CSE201 with a grade C or better. This bridge course is a continuation of CSE201 and will include content from CSE202. Topics will include analysis of problems and the formulation, documentation, and implementation of their solutions, an introduction to data structures with abstract data types, software engineering principles for both individual and group projects. So, this course is a continuation of CSE 201, okay? And the taking this course plus 201 is equivalent to CSE 2010. Now, the reason this course exists is because of this whole quarter to semester conversion. CSE 201 got replaced with CSE 2020, and CSE 202 got replaced with CSE 2020. So if I could bring your attention to this graph here. So this is the course flowchart for the computer science bachelor's degree for CSUSB. Back when we were still running on the quarter system. So it's outdated, obviously, but the reason why I'm showing this to you is because C++ was normally taught with 2 courses, CSE 201 and CSE 202. The problem here is with this whole quarter to semester conversion, CSE 201 got replaced with CSE 2010, and CSE 202 got replaced with 2020, and unfortunately, if you've taken CSE 201, that doesn't quite meet the course learning objectives for CSE 2010. So, as I've stated earlier, that's the reason why this course exists. So that students who took 201 and taking this class, that would cover your requirements, your semester requirement for 2010, which means that you'll hopefully be ready to take CSE 2020 next semester. So, next, I just want to tell you a little bit about me. So, in case you didn't know, I'm a student just like you. I earned my bachelor's degree from this school in 2020, which is a terrible year to graduate, might I add. But it's fine. Nobody asked for this coronavirus pandemic to happen. And this year, 2020, it's a very awkward and strange year for 2 reasons. One, obviously we're dealing with the coronavirus pandemic, and that shifted all of our courses online. And 2, we are also dealing with CSUSB's quarter to semester conversion. So yeah, this year is very awkward to say the least, but don't worry about it. It's fine. We will make this course work no matter what. So yeah, currently I'm pursuing my master's degree, and hopefully I will get it by 2021. But if not, then that's okay. I'll just spend another year here. And who knows, maybe I'll still be teaching courses by next year too. In case you didn't know, I'm also going to be pursuing my PhD in computer science in the future, because my dream one day is to become a computer science professor. Well, an actual professor, not a student instructor like I am now. So I've been writing C++ for well over 5 years, and I'm proficient in C++, C#, Python, and a little bit in Java. Okay? So, here are a couple pictures of me in case you want to know what I look like. So, I was pretty active around CSUSB campus before this whole coronavirus pandemic happened. So, you're all computer science majors, so who knows? Maybe we may have met each other before this whole lockdown happened. And one other thing that I thought you might like to know about me is that a couple years ago, my very first job was working as a tutor for Copper Mountain Community College, which is the college that I transferred from. If you ask me what I tutored, I would just tell you I tutored everything. Math, physics, chemistry, computer science, statistics. I taught pretty much every course that CMC had to offer. The only subject that I couldn't tutor was English. Fun fact. And I get reviews all the time saying that I'm such a good tutor that the students I tutor, they would tell me that they would skip class to get tutoring from me just because I'm a better professor than their actual professors. So yeah, I know how students learn, and I know how to teach material. So that being said, your education is in good hands. So getting a little more into my education. So these are all of my associate's degrees. I've been attending community college for a long time. So I have 1, 2, 3 associate's degrees in mathematics, and I have 1, 2, 3 associate's degrees in computer science or relating to computer science. But this is a picture of my bread and butter here. So here is my bachelor's, which I earned last year. And for all of you, this is your main objective, right? All of you want a piece of paper that's just like this, but with your name on it. And don't worry, we will make that happen. So next order of business, the textbook. So I actually don't decide the textbook for this class. That's decided by other people. But the textbook for this class is this: Data Structures and Algorithms Using Python and C++. If you want the ISBN, it's here. But I will tell you straight away, you actually don't need to buy this textbook to be successful in this class. Okay, when I was planning the course structure for this class in the months of summer, I actually didn't get the textbook until very recently. So by the time that I got it, I had already figured out most of the lesson plans without the need for a textbook. So you actually don't need to buy this. But if you want to buy it anyways, I encourage you to, because as a computer science major, it's nice to have a reference of some kind that isn't Google, you know? Like, when I'm programming in my own classes, like, sometimes it's better to have a physical written reference instead of having to Google search my problems all the time when I'm debugging my code and whatnot. Okay, so now it's time to go over the syllabus. Let me do this real fast. So a few days ago, you should have already received an email from me with this syllabus attached and instructions on how to download Visual Studio 2019, which is the IDE that we're going to be using for this class. So the course number is here, CSE2000Q2S. This is Computer Science 2 Bridge. The instructor is me. Here's my student email if you need to get in contact with me. The prerequisite is 201. The textbook is here. Lecture and lab. So the expected lecture time for this class is 10:30 to 11:45 a.m. every Friday morning. But the truth is, you can just watch the videos as they're posted on your own time, just as long as the work is being turned into me. Same thing goes with the labs. Since we're not meeting in person, you're expected to just do the labs on your own time. Personally, I think these labs are super easy. You probably don't need help. As a matter of fact, if you retained all of your information that you learned from CSE 201, you could probably do lab 1 and 2 on Blackboard without any help. Well, that's what I think. But, obviously we took a 3-month gap from school with the summer. But yeah, I think they're easy. But if you need help, you are free to contact me. As for grading, so each video, including this one, is going to have a lecture activity near the end. There's going to be 10 of them in total, and it's going to be 20% each. As for labs, there's going to be 4 in total. 3 of them are already posted on Blackboard, and they're going to be each worth 5%, so a total of 20%. The midterm is going to be worth 25%, and the final is going to be worth 35%. The letter grade assignment is typical. You can read that there. Office hours, obviously, there aren't any. So, if you need to get a hold of me, please contact my email at 005-823-892 at coyote.csusb.edu. Please use this subject line. Say CSE2000Q2S. Last name, then first name, then your topic. This way it's easier for me to find your emails. Also, please include your student ID somewhere in the body of your email, and I'll try to reply to your email within 24 hours. Okay, so next is the tentative schedule. Oops. So I spent a long time drawing this out, but I think I organize it in a way that I think I'm satisfied with. So for these first 2 weeks, like I said before, it's just going to be review. We're going to cover everything that you should have learned in CSE 201, which is data types, input, output, arithmetic, control structures, and loops. And then the next week, we're going to cover user-defined functions. And on another note, each video is going to have a lecture activity near the end where we're going to be coding something on Visual Studio, and you're going to have to send the files to me. So this video we're watching right now, which is review of part 1, is going to have activity 1, which is going to be due next week. And then next week we're going to cover arithmetic, control structures, and loops. And the activity for that's going to be due next week as well. Due always at midnight. And then we'll cover user-defined functions, arrays and vectors, pointers and iterators. The week after that, we're going to start looking at the structs and classes, which is going to take 2 weeks. But it's going to be interrupted by the midterm. Okay? And the midterm is going to be a take-home test. You will have exactly 1 week to do it, and it will be due midnight, October 16th. And there will also be a practice midterm as well. So October 9th, it's going to be, it's not going to be a normal lecture. We're going to take that entire time to go over the practice midterm, which is actually already posted on Blackboard. And I'm going to show you how to solve all of the problems on the practice midterm. And because of how similar it is to the actual midterm, I believe that you should be able to do the midterm with no problem at all. Like, just watch the video on how to solve the practice midterm, and then the actual midterm will be extremely easy. And then after the midterm's over, we're going to finish our discussion on structs and classes, and then the activity for that will be due next week. Next, we're going to cover inheritance, and then overloading, then recursion, and then we're going to take 2 weeks to talk about searching and sorting. Okay? Now, after that, the semester will get interrupted by Thanksgiving break, but around this time, I'm going to have your practice final posted, and just like the midterm, I'm going to take the entire lecture time to go over the questions of the practice final, and once again, it's going to be extremely similar to the actual final, and your final will be due midnight of December 11th, and then that'll be it. Here's a list of important dates. Here's the beginning of the academic year. Here's the last day to drop without record. This I've already said. The midterm's going to be posted on Blackboard here, and then due here. And then the final is going to be posted December 4th, and will be due December 11th. The catalog description, we actually already covered that. Alright, so, lecture videos. So, as I said before, lecture time is expected to be held from 10:30 to 11:45 a.m. on Fridays. But like I said, you can watch the videos as they're posted on your own time as long as the work gets completed. Every week, you should have something to send to me. Well, almost every week. Everything's on the tentative schedule. So, all boring lecture videos will be posted on my Blackboard and my YouTube channel. You can just find them on Blackboard because I'm going to embed them there. But if you need to go to my YouTube channel, here it is right here. Okay? And every Friday, the lecture video for the week will be posted in the morning. You'll be expected to take the time to watch the video because watching and understanding the lecture content is critical to passing this class. Now let's talk about the activities. Normally this would be called homework, but right now I think everyone's at home. Now, this next statement, I stand by this 100%. This is the truth about learning C++ or any programming language for that matter. No one ever learned a programming language by reading a book or watching PowerPoint slides, okay? You learn a programming language by sitting on a computer and coding, okay? Like, that's really the only way you can learn any programming language. That's the only way to be successful in computer science. Okay? Now, this is the reason why in every lecture video there's an activity that lasts the duration. And I actually do them for you. My expectation is, as you're watching the video, you have an IDE open, hopefully Visual Studio, and you are coding and doing the activity with me, okay? At the end of each video, I'll specify what files or screenshots you need to send to me in order to receive credits. And as I've said before, the activities are worth 20%. There's 10 of them in total, and they are worth 2% each, and they are due the following Friday, after the video is posted at midnight. This means for each activity, you have exactly 1 week to complete it, and they must be individual work. Okay? So activities must be submitted by email to, and that's my email right there, with the following subject line formats. CSE2000Q2S, last name, then first name, then activity, whatever number it is. And here's a sample subject line format. You can follow that there. And so I tailored this course to be as online friendly as I can make it to be. So the fact that all of our lectures are going to be videos means that you have the convenience to pause and rewind anytime you're confused. And honestly, I think that everyone in this class should get the full 20% for the activities, because not only do I do them for you, all you have to do is copy the code with me as I'm typing. You have exactly 1 week to do it. That's a lot of that's a lot of time. So because of that, late lecture activities will not be accepted, because there's no excuse to not turn them in on time. You have a week to do them. Plus, you have to understand that I'm a student just like you. I'm currently enrolled in 12 graduate semester units for the master's program, and the typical the expected workload for a master's student is 9 units. So if I took late activities, I would have to go back into my grading and then have to update that, and that's kind of a hassle, and then I would be bogged down with my own student work. So that's why late activities will not be accepted. Anyways, lab time is supposed to be held from 12 to 12:50 on Fridays, but because we are not meeting in person, like I said, you can do the labs on your own time. And 3 of the 4 labs are already posted on Blackboard. Once again, I recommend using Visual Studio 2019. Labs are worth 20%. There's 4 of them, each worth 5%. You are encouraged to discuss labs amongst each other, and you may even go so far as to share code, but all labs must be individual work, okay? You may not put more than 1 name on a lab assignment. Due dates are on the tentative schedule, so if you go back up to the tentative schedule, lab 1 will be due here, lab 2 will be due here, lab 3 is due here, and lab 4 is due here, okay? And all lab works are due midnight of the assigned due dates, and late lab work will not be accepted. Labs must be submitted by email with the following subject line format. It's the exact same thing, except you put lab instead of activity. And personally, I believe these labs are super easy, but if anyone encounters difficulty, you may email me for help. And if multiple people need help, I may consider doing a Zoom or Discord meeting, and we will do the lab as a group. But I highly believe that it will not come to that, because these labs, they're super easy. Okay, so now let's talk about the large numbers of points for your grade. The midterm exam is worth 100 points and is worth 25% of your total grade. It will consist of 5 coding questions. The best 4 coding questions for you will be graded, and the worst question for you will be dropped, okay? It will be a take-home exam, and you will have exactly 1 week to complete it. The midterm will cover the following topics: data types, input-output, control structures, user-defined functions, arrays and vectors, and structs. So pretty much everything up to here, minus the classes, because classes, that's going to pertain to the final. Okay? Now, like I said before, there will be a practice midterm that is very similar to the real midterm, and I will post a video on how to solve the questions of the practice midterm. So you are highly, highly encouraged to watch that video when it comes out. As a matter of fact, I think I wrote my practice midterm and my actual midterm to be almost exactly the same, with a few differences. So, I believe that if you watch the video on how to solve the practice midterm, you will have absolutely no issue doing the problems of the real midterm. But I'm sure someone will prove me wrong. Okay? So the final exam, it's the same as the midterm, except it's worth 35% of your total grade. Once again, it'll consist of 5 coding questions. The best 4 will be graded, and the worst 1 will be dropped. Again, you will have exactly 1 week to complete it. The final is comprehensive and will cover all course material. And once again, there's going to be a practice final, and there will be a video on how to solve the questions of the practice final. So you are highly encouraged to watch it. Here are the course learning outcomes. You can read this on your own. Academic honesty. I'm just gonna bottom line this. Don't cheat. I know I'm a student just like you. We all get stressed out at times, but I will tell you now, just never cheat in this class or any of your other classes. If you really cannot pass a class, just BS it or take a 0, because if you cheat and you're caught cheating, it's way worse for you. And if I catch any students cheating and I don't report it, I'm actually gonna get in trouble as well. Probably more trouble than you, to be honest. So yeah, please don't cheat. Academic policies, you can read that on your own time. Disabilities, if you're in need of an accommodation for a disability in order to participate in the class, please contact me or student services at this phone number. It is the student's responsibility to seek academic accommodations for a verified disability in a timely manner. Okay? So that is the entire syllabus. Okay, so once more, this is the tentative schedule. And this is a tentative schedule with colors on it. So this clearly shows what kind of material is expected from each assignment. So today is August 28th. We are covering this. We will do activity 1, which will cover all this, and it will pertain to lab 1. And then after we do week 2 a review, your activity 2 will be due the week after, and then you'll have everything you need to know to do lab 1, okay? Lab 2 will cover user-defined functions and arrays and vectors. Excuse me. And then lab 3 will cover classes, inheritance, and overloading. Lab 4 will cover recursion. You know, I actually tried to fit pointers and iterators into a lab, but well, I just couldn't make it work. Same thing for searching and sorting. I think searching and sorting is its own standalone thing, and it's enough if it's just an activity. So here are your 4 labs. Here are what you need to know. Okay. So that being said, activity 1 is going to be due midnight of next week. Okay, Discord. This is actually very important, especially right now since we're since all of the courses are online. In case you didn't know, the computer science students of CSUSB have created a Discord channel for computer science students. It's very active, and there are chat channels for every class. And if you wanted to be added to this Discord channel, all you have to do is send me an email with the following header: CSE2000. Oh, my bad. Let me actually do this real fast. Q2S. There we go. CSE2000Q2S, first name, last name, add me to Discord. And I will send you a Discord invite. And my username is right here. So if you want to see what the Discord channel looks like, oops, it's actually very active. Let me get there right now. Showed up on my second monitor. So here is the Discord channel. We have a general chat right here. The help channel is here, but if you want to find the channels for your courses, they're actually down here. Okay, so we have channels for pretty much every class in here, and this Discord channel has actually existed for a while, but it's actually more important now since all of our classes are online. Students help each other out. We give each other information. Like, if one student doesn't show up to class, another student will write a message or something saying what they missed, and it's actually super useful. It's helped me so many times in my undergraduate career, and the channel for this class, CSE2000Q2S, is actually right here. And here's me. My username is Overlord Brassica, and before you ask, yes, my user profile pic is a cabbage, so it should be very easy to find me. So I highly recommend that every student in my class get invited into this Discord channel, because it's very active, it's very helpful, and if you message me on Discord, more than likely I'll respond to you quicker than I would email. Okay? So there's that. There's Discord. And now, after we've pretty much covered everything that I wanted to go over, I think it's time to go into to the actual lecture content. So this is a quick look into a C++ program. All of you should have some experience writing C++ already. So over here is our includes, where we put our headers. Then we have the line using namespace standard, and over here is our int main. Oops. So comments, as you should already know, they don't affect the program. And this cout here, this allows us to output text and data into our terminal. End L means end line, and then, as always, we have to finish our main function with a return 0. Okay. So data types. There are a lot of data types out there, but the 5 chief ones that we'll be using is int, which is an integer value, which can be equal to any number between -2 to the power of 31 to +2 to the power of 31 minus 1. Doubles are floating point numbers. They're any kind of number with decimals. Strings are strings of characters, like words like dog, cat, house. A car, or a character, is a single character, like uppercase A or lowercase a, b, or even characters or numbers too, like question mark, dots, 3, 4, so on and so forth. A bool is a Boolean value, which is true or false. And variables are declared with the following syntax. So you say your data type first, then your identifier. The identifier is the name that you're giving to your variable. So here are a couple examples. We say string first name if we want to make a string data type that holds a first name. And then we say int age if we want to make an integer value that holds a number that's supposed to represent age. Okay? So secondly, let's talk about input-output. So in the C++ program, we receive input and output from the user using standard cin and standard cout respectively. But by using the header using namespace standard, which is, if you look back here, we write this a lot. That eliminates the need to write std : every time we use C in, C out. So that way, we can just use C in and C out instead. Saves time. And secondly, a C++ program may also receive input and output from a text file. First, you must include the fstream header file by saying pound include fstream. So if you go back to here, if you wanted this program to read from a text file, you would include that other header fstream. And then you declare these fstream variables, which is ifstream and ofstream. And whatever name you assign to these variables, you use them in place of your C in and C out. So it's actually really simple to read from a text file. All right. So okay. So as you can see, I don't have that much content in my PowerPoints. The reason for that is because, well, most of your learning is going to come from you watching me code, okay? So it's time to do the activity for this video. So hopefully you've already downloaded Visual Studio 2019, and in the installer you selected all the C++ add-ons, and yeah. However, if there's an IDE that you like that isn't Visual Studio, you're welcome to use it. The only reason why I'm recommending Visual Studio 2019 is because it's the IDE that I'm most familiar with. It's the one that I've been using for 5 years. So if you encounter any difficulty with the labs or anything, if you're using Visual Studio 2019, it's the easiest way for me to help you because of how familiar I am with it. But if you have your own IDE that you like to use instead, that's perfectly fine. The grading is exactly the same, just so long as you can still send me the CPP files and the necessary screenshots, okay? Alright, so this activity will cover input-output, declaring and changing variables, arithmetic, and input-output from a text file. So how am I doing on time? So 37 minutes. Okay. That's plenty of time. So I'm gonna keep this here, okay? But now it's time to open Visual Studio and get started coding, okay? So what's that? Open Visual Studio 2019. I'm going to go over here, create new project. I want to choose empty project C++. Now, this is under my recent project templates because I've been using Visual Studio for a very long time and it saves my recent project templates. But if this isn't showing up for you, what you need to do is go to this Dropbox here, select C++, and then find empty project somewhere over here. So once you find it, select it, and then click next. Now, one thing that's very important is that you have to choose empty project for C++. Don't make the mistake of choosing empty project for a different language, because that would actually ruin things. Okay? So yeah, moving on, click next. For project name, we're just gonna name it Lecture Activity 1, and we're gonna save it somewhere. I highly recommend saving this on your make a folder on your desktop for you to save this under. I'm gonna write it here. So I'm gonna save it in this folder. Click create. Okay. So now Visual Studio is open. What you need to do is go over here to the Solution Explorer, right-click Source Files, hover over add, click new item, and select .cpp file, and we are going to name this main.cpp. Click add. Excellent. So we can begin coding now. So let's say include IO stream. Yeah, let's code something so that you can turn it into me and I have a reason to give you guys points, okay? Zing names int Do you want to know the reason why I can't code right now? It's because I'm recording. When I'm not recording, I can code very quickly. But when I'm recording, no. Return 0. So, this is our typical C++ jargon. The first thing I want you to do is just say cout hello world NL, and in case you're wondering what NL does, it ends the current line that the terminal is on and then begins a new one. Okay, so if you want to run this program, what you would do is click this save button here and then click this play button here that says local Windows debugger. Click that and see what happens. Okay, so it actually displayed hello world for us. And I'm actually going to increase the size of this so you can see it better. So yeah, it outputs hello world. And all of this is just some extra jargon that the compiler likes to throw at us. Don't mind it. But anyways, that's how you code C++ in Visual Studio. Okay? So let me go over here and see what I wanted to cover. Input, output, declaring, changing variables. Okay. I'm on time. Yeah, I think we have time to go over all of this. So here. What would we like to do next? Okay. Probably a good idea is to break this program up into segments. So I'm going to say cout. Let's call this section 1. Hello. Output. Hello world. Okay, and then, well, let's make some space. So now, when I ran this again, it'll basically, what I'm doing is just breaking this up into segments because I'm gonna demonstrate each thing one at a time. So the next thing that I'm probably gonna cover is declaring and changing variables. Okay, so I'm gonna use one of our data types that we know, int. Let's call it x, and let's set it equal to, I don't know, 5. Int y is equal to 6, and then we're gonna cout just to demonstrate that you guys know how to declare and change variables, but honestly you already know how to do that. But y is equal to y so we declared these variables here and we set it to x equal to 5 and y equal to 6. But what if I decided to say x is equal to 1000 and y is equal to x? What do you guys think will happen if I like ran this next, and, it's actually a good idea to see out. So this is all section. This is part 2, which is declaring and changing variables. Okay. Okay, so what do you think will happen if I run this code, huh? So I'm gonna run it. Okay, so initially x was equal to 5 and then y was equal to 6, and when we see outed those variables, it said x was 5 and y was 6. Next we changed x to 1,000, and then we set y equal to x, and because x is 1,000, now y equals 1,000. Okay, so if you wanted to see how this code is executing, one thing that's very useful, especially when you have very long programs and you have bugs in the code that you need to mend, one thing that you could do in Visual Studio is I'm going to click into this bar here, and I'm going to put a breakpoint here on line 10. Okay? So now when I run it by clicking this play button here, I'm now in debugging mode, okay? And what I like to do is I like to put my screen here and then my terminal here. So by putting this breakpoint here, the code runs normally until I reach this breakpoint. And when I reach this breakpoint, I can step through lines of code individually by clicking this downwards arrow here that's pointing to a dot. I don't know how well you can see that, but it's there. So the pointer is currently on line 10, okay? So if I click step into, it'll execute this next line of code, okay? And by doing that, we just see outed 2 declaring and changing variables, okay? So now we reach this next line of code which says int x equals 5. If you go over down here in autos, this keeps track of all of your variable values, okay? So currently x is equal to this crazy value here because apparently there was information in that memory address before we used it, okay? So our memory addresses, they all have gobbledygook in it. But by executing this next line, this value here should change to 5. So I'm going to click step. So now x equals to 5. When you click the next line, now y is equal to 6. And then we click the next line, it couts everything. It prints out the string of characters x equals and then x, and because x is equal to 5, it outputs 5. And because y is equal to 6, it outputs 6, okay? Now, when we do the next lines, it says x is equal to 1,000. By doing that, we should see that this value for 5 here will change to 1,000. And then we set y equal to x. Because x is equal to 1,000, y will be equal to 1,000 next. Okay? And that's exactly what we see. And any updated values will be shown in red. Like, I don't know how well you can see this because it's a tiny screen, but it's all there. So if you wanted to get out of debugging mode, you would click this stop debugging button, which looks like a red square. I can stop debugging because I can see clearly that this code is doing exactly what I want it to do. So let's stop and close this. Okay. So that's declaring and changing variables. What's next? I'm going to show you. So I covered this already. Let me do that. Okay, so the next thing I guess I want to show you is input and output. So let's make another section here, cout, call you 3, input, and output. Let's declare some more variables. We're gonna say string name, string favorite, and string favorite color. Okay. So I just declared 3 string variables, and right now they're not equal to anything. What we're going to set them equal to is values that the user is prompted to enter. Okay? So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say cout, please enter your name. Cin. Now I'm gonna use I use these chevrons when I'm couting stuff. I use backwards chevrons when I'm accepting data. Okay, so I'm gonna say cin name, cout, please enter and then lastly I'm going to do the same for color. I'm lazy. I'll just copy this and change this to color. And then I'm going to say cout hello name, exclamation points, and line. And line starts a new line. I'm going to say your animal. And then, oops. I'm lazy. I'm just gonna do that. Color, favorite color, semicolon, which will end that. Okay. Well, actually, let's put another end line there because I like having space between this and the gobbledygook. Okay. So, when I run this next code, what do you think is going to happen? Oh, I guess it's important to remove this breakpoint. But yeah, when I run this, let's see what happens here. So we're in debugging mode currently, and there's no breakpoint here because I removed it. The reason why it stopped is because the terminal, which is this black screen, is waiting for my user input to enter a name. So I'm gonna say Larry. Press enter. It wants my favorite animal, so I'll say dog. My favorite color is green. So if I press enter, it says, hello Larry, your favorite animal is dog. Your favorite color is green. Okay? Now do you understand what happened here? We couted what we want the user to enter, and then this cin variable takes user inputs in order to fill in what the data for these variables. Now, I'm actually glad we got up to here because there's actually something important that I want to share with you. I'm gonna run this one more time. what if I wanted to put in my full name, like Lawrence Orijuela? Oh, as you can see, something went wrong here. It says, please enter your favorite animal, then please enter your favorite color. Well, I'm up to color, so I'm going to say green. Now, do you see what happened here? Hello, Lawrence, your favorite animal is my last name, and then your favorite color is green. Now, the reason why it did this is because when I entered my full name here, like new variables, like new inputs are divided by blank spaces. So it actually took this as one variable, and because there was a space here, it took this as the next variable. So I actually couldn't put my full name into string name. If I wanted to put strings that have spaces between, I would actually have to do something different. What I'd have to do is go up to the top, say pound include string, and by including string, I now have access to this library. I have access to the getLine function. So what I'd have to do is, you see this cin name on line 27? I will replace this with getLine parentheses cin colon, and I'll say name. So by doing this, it accepts the entire line, regardless of white spaces, and it passes that into string name. So now if I ran this again, it should work if I put in my full name. Actually, I just realized something I need to, because I like having space between. So if I say see that? It just took my entire name with the space between because it received the entire line. Okay? So I'll say dog again. Color, I'll say green. And there you go. So if you wanted to put data into strings that have spaces between, you would use getLine instead of cin. And I'm actually gonna put another end line here because I like having space. So yeah. So what's next? So we covered input outputs. Oops. All right. Next thing is arithmetic. Okay. So I'm gonna make another section, cout for arith. All right. So arithmetic. I'm gonna declare a couple variables here. So int a equals my bad. C equals maybe it'd be more useful if I use some better numbers here. Maybe 5, 6. Okay. So in C++, we have, when it comes to numbers, we have access to every mathematical operator there is. We have add, subtract, multiply, and divide. We can actually do those with these variables here. Now, this is a very important thing to note. I made A and B int variables, and I made C and D double variables. If you go back to the PowerPoint here, so an integer value is an integer. It's 1, 2, 3, but it can't be 3.5. It can't be 3.33. It has to be an integer value, so no fractional points involved. Doubles are floating point values. These are numbers that have a fractional part, okay? So you might be wondering what's going to happen if I decide to type something like this. So see out a plus. Because I'm lazy, I'm just gonna do this. I'll say A minus B. Let's say A times C, so you can see what happens. And then, what's another fun one? Maybe B times D? Now, what's also nice about the fact that this is a video is that you can speed it up or slow it down if I'm taking a long time to type. So, okay. So, let's run this and see what happens, okay? Oh, it's asking for my name again here. Just so that we don't have to deal with this every time, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take all of this code that's on section 3, and I'm going to click this button here up top. Do you see this? I'm going to click this button to comment all of that out. So as you should know already, comments don't affect the code. They're just comments. They don't affect the code. Okay. So let's run this. Okay. So let's see what's happening here. So we said A plus B. Because A is equal to 5 and B is equal to 6, it outputted 11. A minus B is going to be equal to negative 1. Now, A times C. Now, you can see that I'm multiplying an int by a double. By doing that, an int and a double always results in a double, okay? But if I set an int equal to a double times an int, what would happen is, because it needs to be in the form int, the fractional part would have been lopped off. So if I stored the value of A times C into an int, the answer would be 7.5, but the fractional part would have been removed, which means that the value would have been 7. But I didn't do that. I just C-outed the value. Okay. So, next I said B. Oh, my bad. This is supposed to be times. Yeah. So this is B times D. 6 times 3.5 is 21. And then C divided by D. We get this very long decimal, which makes sense. Okay? So that's arithmetic for you. All right, lastly, input and output from a text file. This is a fun one. So now, like I said in the PowerPoint, if you want to read and write from a text file, the first thing you need to do is include fstream and then declare fstream variables, okay? So I'm going to go up top, include fstream. Okay, perfect. So now we just need a text file that we can read and write from, okay? Now, I don't know how other IDEs do it, but if I wanted to add a text file to my program, what I would do is go to my File Explorer. Oops, my bad. I'll go to my File Explorer. I'll go to the file where that project is located over here. I would go into the project folder, and if I can see my main.cpp, I know I'm in the right spot. So what I would do, I would right click, hover over new, click text document, and I'll say input. So now I have input.txt in my project folder. I'll close this, and then I'll hover over sources again over on the Solution Explorer. I'll right click, click new item. Oh no, my bad. I would right click, click add, click existing item, and I would choose the text file that I created and click add. Now if I wanted to, so over here is my text document, okay? Right now it currently doesn't have anything, but we need data to read off of. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go over here. Well, if I can find it again. I'm pretty sure that if I open this here and I said, I don't know, a couple things like dog, cat, bird, and I click save. If I did that, the changes would reflect in here, and they do. And if I really wanted to, I could pull this out and dock it over here. So now I can see my code and I can see the input file at the same time. This is why I like Visual Studio so much, because I can do stuff like this. Let's do this. Okay. Let's say cout 5 So, because we're reading from a text file, we need to declare our fstream variables. So I'm gonna say I'm gonna declare an fstream variable, and truthfully I can name it anything I want, but I like to make it a habit to name it in data, like that. So if I read from a text file, I would use this in place of my cin. I'm going to declare a couple more variables here, like string line. So now I'm going to use my fstream variable in data. So in data, and I'm going to say dot open, because open is a function of fstream variables. And I'm going to say the name of my input file. So input.txt. And I'm going to include a while loop. Get line in data line. And then lastly, okay, so don't worry too much if you don't quite understand what's happening in this code. But basically, what this is I declared a while loop. So as long as the statement inside the while loop is true, this code will continue to operate. So as long as get line in data line is true. So what this basically means is I'm retrieving lines from the input file, and there's 3 of them, okay? So this loop will iterate 3 times. I'm using in data in place of my cin, like I did here. And whatever the data is on that line, it'll get stored in line. And then I simply see out the value of that line, and then I end the line of the terminal to start a new line. So basically what this does is it reads from the text file, and it reads everything, okay? Now, one thing that's very important is that every time you open a text file like we did here, you have to close the text file after you're done with it. So I'm going to say in data not close. Now this is very important. If your program leaves text files open, your program would actually crash. If you try to open a text file that doesn't exist, your program will crash. But let's do this and see if it works. And of course it does. And I want another line between these two, so I'm gonna... There we go. Alright, so that's reading from a text file. The other thing you should know is how to write to a text file. So I have 3 animals in this text file. Let's say I wanted to add 2 more animals, but I don't want to add it directly to the text program, to the text file. I want the program to write it to the text file. So here's what I'm gonna do. Cout. What section is this? 6. Oops. So once again, I'm going to use my if stream variable, which is in data. I'm going to open the text file again. Inputs.txt, which needs to be in quotes, might I add. Like that. And then lastly, if you go back to the PowerPoint, because I'm writing to the text file, I have to use an of stream variable, okay? So this of stream variable, I'm going to call it out data. But truthfully, you can name it anything you want, but that's what I decided to name it. So out data has a function as well, where if I put parentheses and I say the name of the text file, input.txt, and what this does is that every time I declare something like, out data chevron, I can write anything in there. So I can say, what's another animal? Snake. Like that. Oh, I'm using the wrong chevrons. Snake. what this does is that it writes snake to the text file, because I'm using out data in place of a cout. But actually, there's one more thing that I want to do before we do this. If I ran this code right now, what would happen is that the data that's in this text file would get erased, and then it would write snake as the first line, and then save it, and then close it. And I actually don't want to do that. I want to retain the information that's already saved in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to this line here on 63. I'm going to put a comma, and I'm going to say fstream : app. So, this is another function that's included in the fstream file, okay? App is short for append. Append means you want to add to the data that already exists. You don't want to write over it. And that's how it works. So I'm going to put that there. And then let's add another animal to this list. Out data. Put any animal you want. I'm going to say horse. Okay. And as always, when we're done using the text file, we have to close it afterwards. So I'm going to say in data.close. And I'm going to see out something else. See out. The text file should now include snake and horse. Perfect. So let's run this one more time and see if it really does append snake and then horse into our text file. So the text file should now include snake and horse. If we look, we didn't want to do that. Let's fix that. So okay, so yeah, I fixed it. What I wanted to do initially is have a new line after the last line, but there is one now. So because the information to the text file is saved, what would actually happen if I ran it again is it would keep adding these two lines every time I ran it. So these wouldn't go away. It's saved into the text file. So if I ran it again, it read this because it was already there. And if I look in the text file, so we added snake and horse again, and we could actually add it again if we wanted to. See? So that's how you make data persist. So yeah, we covered everything in this activity, so let me do that. How am I on time? Okay. So yeah, save. Let me go back to Visual Studio. So let's uncomment this part here. We only commented it out because it was bothering us. Okay, close that. So all of this is your lecture activity. Now the reason why I have the activities in the lecture videos is because I have a feeling that if I made them separate from the lecture videos, no one would watch the lecture videos, and then you would be very confused when you're tackling the labs and the midterms, and I don't want that. So what I want you to do, in order to turn this into me and get credit, I want you to put 4 comments on the top. Lecture activity 1, name. Please put your name. Don't use my name. Put your SID. And then lastly, I want you to put the due date. The due date is a week from now, so... Well, it's Thursday, the day I'm recording this, but a week from now would be September 4th. So, due 09/04/2020. Okay. So, save that. And to turn this in, I actually need two things from you. I need the CPP file, and I need a screenshot of this working. So, I'm going to go here. It opened on my second screen, that's why. So, here's what I would want you to do. Run this one more time. Put your name. Don't use my name. For favorite animal, put your favorite animal. Don't use my favorite animal. For favorite color, use your favorite color. Don't use my favorite color. And then after that, let's make this smaller. So I need a screenshot of all of this working. Okay? So to get a screenshot of this, copy that with Control-C. So when you're ready to turn this in, go ahead and make a new email. Go ahead and put your screenshot on the body of the email. And lastly, I need one other thing from you, and that's the CPP file. So go over here to attach files. Find the folder where you saved your activity. Go inside the project folder. If you found main.cpp, go ahead and attach that. Please send it to my email address here. And you must use the following format: CSE2000Q2S, last name, first name, and then Act 1. And then that's all you have to do to submit your assignment. So go ahead and send this to me before midnight of Friday of next week, and I'll give you a grade. So my expectation is that everyone that's in this class should get 20 out of 20 for the activities. So that's all I got for this week. So I'll see you in the next week, and we will cover the next part of lecture.